Oh my god. You're the Thanksgiving turkey. How is it even possible? I ate you for dinner last Thursday.
Shut up! I do the talking. A long time ago, one of your ancestors disrespected our people really, really badly. And so as payback, I'm here to kill any white person that disrespects Indians.
Don't you mean Native Americans? Anyway, I already decided to do Thanksgiving Day films. Didn't that make it up to you?
It almost did, but it didn't. Prepare to be dead.
I don't think so, Gravy Breath, because this is movie night. Hello and welcome to Movie Night, YouTube's longest running show operating under that name. I'm your host, Jonathan Paula. I hope you had a relaxing and enjoyable Thanksgiving break. I know I certainly did, which is why tonight's episode celebrating Thanksgiving-themed movies is unfortunately a few days late. Hopefully you will forgive me. Regardless, we begin tonight with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This John Hughes comedy classic was released the day before Thanksgiving in 1987, and was a huge hit, earning over $50 million at the box office. Iconic funny men Steve Martin and John Candy star as a mismatched duo forced to work together to survive the ultimate road trip from hell, as they attempt to make it home to Chicago for Thanksgiving. With Murphy's Law in full effect, Martin does an excellent job portraying the arrogant and impatient businessman, perpetually pushed to the end of his rope, both by the ridiculously horrible circumstances he continually finds himself in, and by Candy's irritating antics. What makes this odd couple pairing work so well, however, is Candy's marvelous performance as the good-natured and lovable shower curtain ring salesman, who is so oblivious to his irritating behavior, it's hard to fault the endearing guy, defending himself by saying, "I'm the real article. What you see is what you get." Although the supporting cast includes familiar names and faces like Kevin Bacon, Dylan Baker, Matthew Lawrence, and Ben Stein, most of them are reduced to quick punchlines and remain largely inconsequential. Stretching the bounds of believability, the 92-minute American adventure bounces from one awful traveling disaster to the next, from grounded airplanes to broken down trains to having their rental car catch on fire, which results in perhaps the movie's funniest laugh out loud scene when Candy attempts to calmly dismiss Officer Michael McKean's safety and legal concerns over their completely destroyed vehicle.
What the hell are you driving here?
We had a small fire last night, but we caught it in the nick of time.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do. Yes, I really do. I believe that. I know it's not pretty to look at, but it'll get you where you want to go.
Now, you got no outside mirror.
No, we lost that.
You have no functioning gauges.
No, not a one. However, the radio still works. Funny as that may seem, with all this mess, that the radio is the only thing that's really working good, and it's clear as a bell. Don't ask me how.
Earning its R rating in a single, hilarious, F-bomb-laced scene, this picture is otherwise a family-friendly story with noble themes of friendship, family, and not judging others by a first impression. With some silly and perhaps hammy dialogue, the original screenplay by Hughes is otherwise very tightly constructed, despite ending with an abrupt emotional shift and a rushed ending. Technically and visually speaking, there's nothing noteworthy with this picture, but it has held up extremely well over the years, except for its cheesy and overly synthesized score from Ira Newborn, which is far too goofy to ever feel appropriate. The briskly paced experience is a holiday staple, and the greatest reminder of how talented the late John Candy really was. This is a delightful picture I love watching around Turkey Day. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Brilliantly funny characters, amusing situations. Now let's see what you had to say about this picture in the Google Plus comments. And our ratings are a double 8. Everyone praised Martin and Candy's performances, scoring this film a great. Despite some story flaws, I too love the characters in this picture and laugh every time I watch. It is a great movie. For tonight's poll question, something non-movie related for a change, what's your favorite Thanksgiving Day food? I'm quite partial to mashed potatoes and stuffing myself, but leave your response as a comment below. Our second review tonight is for Grumpy Old Men. Released on Christmas Day in 1993, this PG-13 rated picture doubled its $35 million budget and effectively resurrected its aging stars' comedy careers. The sixth of their 10 movies together, Oscar-winning veterans Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon star as elderly neighbors in wintry Minnesota, whose petty rivalries and pranks escalate when they both chase after the same woman. Bouncing off each other effortlessly, their unique interplay is not only the 103-minute picture's highlight, it's really the only compelling reason to watch what is otherwise a simple, lighthearted romantic comedy about old people. Their demeanor can really only ever be described as grumpy. And boy do they play that well, greeting each other with courteous salutations like "Good morning, dickhead," and "Hello, moron." Director Donald Petrie wisely remains out of their way, letting their grandiose and arrogant personalities fill every scene with cute moments and hilarious jokes. Like when Matthau pushes Lemon's ice fishing hut across a frozen lake, with Lemon still inside, flailing around and screaming.
Oh no. He belongs in a rubber room. I fixed your fishing pole!
Who cares about a damn fishing pole? You can shove that pole! You think a lousy old pole is gonna replace her?
Their back and forth sparring works because it never becomes completely mean-spirited. And that's what makes these characters great, is that deep down you can tell they actually care for each other. Also, there's some excellent supporting cast performances from Burgess Meredith, Anne Margaret, Daryl Hannah, and Kevin Pollak, who elevate this picture from an average made-for-TV fluff to a realistic, humble, and endearing picture that's endlessly rewatchable. Thematically about coming to terms with yourself and giving people a second chance, the tightly paced movie ultimately just boils down to an amusing time as you watch a couple of frenemies bicker at each other and flirt with a woman 20 years their junior. A playful yet emotional score from the always capable Alan Silvestri helps cement some of the picture's more dramatic moments as well, but nothing from the production side of things is ever truly impressive. A whimsical and lighthearted film for the whole family that set up an equally amusing sequel, Grumpy Old Men has adorably hilarious chemistry between legends. Now let's read some of your comment reviews. Ratings were mixed, but they averaged to a 7 and a 7 for Grumpy Old Men. We both agreed that Lemon and Matthau are awesome together, and they make this film worth watching single-handedly. We both rated it a cool. And now, a quick reminder to subscribe to the Movie Night Archive channel for my exclusive trailer commentaries and an organized library of every review we've done to date. My last review of the show tonight is for Thanksgiving. Produced by college students Jordan Downey and Kevin Stewart on a paltry budget of only $3,500, this independent comedy horror film saw limited release in November of 2009. As promised by the ridiculous movie poster, the movie does indeed open on a pair of mammaries, but why the Lady Pilgrim is running through the woods topless in 1621 is anyone's guess. The score by Kijmir Royale is really quite awful. A step below those tired garage band loops, it literally sounds like one of those in-keyboard demo tracks, adding zero tension or atmosphere to the picture. But when a deranged turkey pops into frame speaking English and swinging an axe, you immediately understand and appreciate the campy nonsense this film is attempting to achieve. And that's just within the first 2 minutes. From there, the picture occasionally impresses. The editing is solid, the action well-paced, and although the acting is obviously from second-year film students, the dialogue is written with a decent amount of believability. There are even a few moments where I genuinely laughed at the jokes, rather than at their actual delivery or cheesiness. As the student filmmakers were unable to afford a rating, this picture is technically unrated, but given its language and graphic content, it would more than qualify for an R. The plot follows a group of helpless and horny meatbags, alone in the woods during Thanksgiving break, who are slowly hunted and killed by a knife-wielding anthropomorphized turkey. Lance Priedmore, Ryan Francis, Lindsay Anderson, Aaron Ringzer Carlson, and Natasha Cordova comprise the core group of protagonists, and while none of their performances are even decent, they manage to get through these silly scenes without breaking character or laughing, so I guess that's somewhat commendable. The standout performance, if you can call it that, definitely has to be Downey as the voice of the killer turkey himself. Its crass one-liners and unsubtle puns always made me laugh, like when he declares, "Damn, that was good, you just got stuffed," after having sex with the slutty girl.
That's gas or grass.
Well, I'm out of gas. Guess I'll take ass.
Now that's what I call a tight ass. Yeah.
No, it's not for you, or anyone else for that matter.
Please, mister, please. I have a daughter.
Call her.
Please give mommy a kiss and tell her that
If you enjoy cheesy, almost self-aware, unbelievably low-budget horror films, this incredibly short 66-minute feature can definitely be a fun time with friends, despite being uninspired and poorly made. While I'll probably never watch this movie again, I am strangely compelled to investigate the film's more expensive sequels. Thanksgiving, amateur production, but hilarious camp. And now the Ratomatic with a score of 3 for Thanksgiving. Sure, this movie is nothing but silly nonsense and is far from good filmmaking, but it never does anything inexcusably bad either. Although I liked it, I still have to rate this a lame. Finally, let's read some of your tweet critiques. If you see a new movie in theaters, tweet your review with the JPMN hashtag. Next week, to honor the life and work of the recently deceased Paul Walker, we'll review 2003's Timeline, a sci-fi adventure film focusing on time travel, Into the Blue, an action film from 2005 co-starring Jessica Alba, and Running Scared, a lesser-known crime film from 2006. All of these, of course, feature Paul Walker. Share your opinions on these movies by voting in the polls below or by leaving a comment review. If you'd like to watch more episodes of Movie Night, check out the related videos to my left, or click subscribe to be notified of all new content. And be sure to follow me on Twitter or Facebook for updates between episodes. Once again, my name is Jonathan Paula. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, have a good movie night.